And if we can welcome yourself, welcome rest as this welcoming. So we can invite the mind to sort of just take a break. Although the mind can rest in silence, in stillness, I remain. I am as I am across all experiences, across all situations, as this presence that has no name, no age, no cause, that is not subject to any conditions. So welcome yourself as that presence. Which is the peace of being, the peace of God's peace shining through us, through our entire being. Before thought arises, I am. And as thought appears, I am. Where presence that is. And after the thought, I remain as I am. Whatever thought that appears to you, irrespective of what it seems to say, is your own creation and your own agreement, your own composition, not the composition of your mind, but the composition of your very being. There is nothing in the entire universe, in the entire realm of meditation, that is not your very being. Being is not personal. One could say being is universal. It appears as your experience, meaning it appears as this very moment, hearing, sensing, breathing, perceiving. It appears as a sky, as wind, as the reflection of the sun. As enjoyment, enjoying the company of a friend. And all appearances refer to I, not my mind. I, this transparent, the reality of awareness, the reality of consciousness, the reality that is. I refers to this reality. Brahman. The majesty of being, creation. I am not a person meditating on Brahman. It is Brahman that meditates onto itself. The impression of a person is a reflection of thought, a glitter, like the glitter of the heat over the desert sand, creates the impression of a city in the distance or an oasis. Both the desert sand and the heat of the sun, the reflection of the sun onto the desert sand, all of that is Brahman. And the image of the oasis or the city in the distance of the desert. It's Brahman's creation. Within itself, to itself, from itself. Brahman invites itself to its own recognition that I, Brahman, am not created. I am the creation wherever you look. There I am. I am the looking as well as the looked at. I am the perceiver and the perceived as one. I am unborn, uncaused, uncreated. I have no father or mother. I am the father and mother of everything. Although I am nameless, I have no name, I go by all names. Although I have no form, I go by all forms. I do not exist in time and space. I am the formless self, infinite, eternal. I am the destiny. Your destiny. Like the ocean is the destiny of all streams and rivers. I do not meditate. I am meditation. The subject and the object as one. I have no history, no past and no future. In the eternity of my being, the past and the future are insignificant. Well, if there are any questions or anything you would like to share, please make sure you unmute your mic, and you can also turn on your video. This way we can enjoy seeing each other. So,
Hi there, Magdi. I'm sorry.
Hello, George.
Um,
By the way, sorry, George, how is the sound? Is the sound okay?
yes, sound is fine.
Okay. Okay. Yes, George.
Sound is fine. Picture is fine.
Okay.
Last time you spoke about understanding as in the sense of getting a joke. And I wanted to ask about understanding with regard to awareness. Now, historically, some time ago, I investigated the existence of a separate self. And I read some books, and I realized there's no separate self in the body, no separate self there. Looked in the mind doesn't exist, no separate self. So I concluded, yeah, there's no separate self. But then it took maybe 3 months later or whatever. I remember exactly where it happened. I had this insight. Hey, there really is no separate self. So I just wanted, there was a really time between the time I had this all figured out and then the insight, there really is none,
Mm-hmm.
Now, with regard to awareness, I'm stuck again. So with regard to awareness, I know that I am aware. And you pointed out, last time, awareness is my essence. That's who I am. I am aware. I have no doubt about that. Now, with regard to the universality of awareness, that's where I'm stuck. See, I can figure it out. I've seen the arguments why awareness is universal. There are several logical ways to reach that conclusion, and I'm sort of willing to believe that, but I haven't gotten that flash of insight.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And to me, it looks like there's awareness here. Yes, I'm aware, and there's this vague concept of awareness out there and God out there and reality out there, and I can't hook these together.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Or to say it another way, during the meditation today, you said the perceiver and the perceived are one. I can't get that. So I don't know if you can help me or not.
Yes. So yes, there is a concept of awareness, that awareness is this and that, and it's the concept of awareness, whichever way that's defined. But there's also the direct experience of awareness. So there is the concept, the moon, and there is the experience of the moon in the shining, whichever way it's shining in the night sky. And the concept is not the thing. Consciousness or awareness refers to our experience. So the experience of awareness is beyond a shadow of a doubt, and in that there is something rather than nothing. That there is a knowingness, there is awareness. That's our experience. Now, in terms of the universality of awareness, that cannot be demonstrated by any thought experiment or by any sort of experiment, because to conduct an experiment, there has to be a subject and an object. There has to be some sort of limitation, but there is no possible experiment to be conducted. Oh, thank you, Maria. Let me see. Well, maybe I should. The volume looks still okay on my screen.
I can still hear you okay.
Yes. So Maria, check on your side.
You have gone down a little bit. Magdi.
Okay. Okay. Still on my screen, it's recording. That is fine.
Yeah, it's a little better. It's a
Okay.
little better now. Maybe you're sitting closer.
Yes, yes. So back to the point I was making, that there is no thought experiment that can be conducted onto that which is universal or limitless. I think you can get that. So the mind, it's not, there isn't any possibility at the mind level, at the conducting an experiment level. There is no possibility for the mind to conduct an experiment pertaining to the universality of consciousness. So the invitation is to sort of remain open to that possibility, that we know from our direct experience that I am aware, that therefore that there is awareness, and that awareness is real.
Yes.
That which we perceive, this image, this thought, may be an illusion, because we know from our night dreams that we may have a seemingly very real experience of unicorns, which is an appearance, but upon waking we realize that no, it was an illusion. So it is possible that that which appears to us, meaning thoughts, perceptions, sensations, memories, images, etc., may be an illusion. But that which perceives the reality of awareness, that we are certain about from our direct experience. So we start with the certainty of consciousness, the certainty of awareness. Then we can pose some questions, meaning that there is within awareness a capacity to investigate itself, investigate reality, investigate experience, whatever it focuses to investigate upon. So we can investigate in our direct experience, is there any evidence that consciousness or awareness starts at 8 o'clock and ends at 4, or starts in January and ends in March and starts again in June and ends in August. So it's pretty simple for us to come to the understanding that there is no evidence in our experience that consciousness is time-bound. We can conduct the same sort of inquiry about this consciousness. Is it more present in the satsang room, and less present in the kitchen when I'm making tomato sauce? And you may take a closer look at that, and you will find that, in fact, irrespective of space, of location, there is no effect, no change in consciousness across time and space. So then we can also investigate, well, is there more consciousness or more awareness when I'm looking at a very bright sky, or as opposed to looking at a misty sky, a sort of gentle cloud, soft cloud, sort of grayish sky? You will find that, in fact, the image is brighter. The bright sky is brighter than the gray sky, but the awareness, consciousness, is neither brighter nor grayer in either situation. You can also ask yourself the question, is it my experience, from my direct experience, is there any evidence that consciousness is here, I guess, sitting on the chair or located in my brain, or is it outside of my brain? When you look at this question, you will find from your direct experience that there is no evidence that can confirm that consciousness is in the brain or is outside of the brain, is a product of the brain or is creating the brain. There is no evidence for that. There are theories, there are all sorts of thoughts that flow by, they say this and that, but there is no evidence. Is there any evidence that consciousness starts somewhere and ends somewhere? No, there is no evidence that consciousness starts somewhere and ends somewhere. So when you put all this together, it leaves you in a place of, okay, at best, at worst, well, maybe at worst, I don't know. I don't have any evidence that can concur that consciousness is limited, is affected by time, space, weather, feeling, sensation, thoughts, world events. It's no evidence. At best, you can come to the edge of saying, well, all my questions, all my internal experiments are basically telling me that there are no borders, no limits, no location, no containers to consciousness. And from my direct experience, I know that consciousness is real. That can be verified every moment.
But all this that you're saying pertains to what I would call local consciousness. In other words, for me, in my experience, of course, it has no beginning, it has no end, it doesn't exist in time, it has no borders, it has no location. I have no doubt about that. But it still seems like it's my consciousness, my experience of my consciousness. Now, in terms of the universality, I can give you a lot of evidence for why consciousness is universal. One bit of evidence is that if I look at a table and my wife looks at a table, we're looking at it from different angles. We have different visions, and yet we perceive the same object. Now, I don't think there's really a table there in reality, but I use that as evidence of a universality of consciousness. I have consciousness at this table. She has consciousness at this table. My other evidence of the universality of consciousness is right now, you and I are conversing. And there's an understanding between us. There's more than just an exchange of words. There appears to be an understanding. So I can also use that as evidence that consciousness is universal. My problem is I have this evidence, but I can't put it together. I can't really, I can't make that leap, that experiential, aha, I got it now. That's what's missing.
Yes. Well, a couple of things. First, it doesn't necessarily need to be an aha. There is the aha, and there is also sort of the understanding sort of creeps up on you. Francis sometimes talks about, you have a headache and you take some medicine for the headache, and at some point you notice that the headache is no longer there, but you don't know exactly when did the headache stopped. So there is yes the aha, but remain open to the possibility of understanding sort of creeping up on you suddenly.
Okay.
It's not like it's insight is both sudden and gradual. It's both sudden and gradual. Now, to be watchful not to confuse the personal mind with consciousness. In other words, there is a particular perception here, a particular set of sensations here, particular thought here. Yes, that's very particular to George, different from the perception or the sensation at the Magdi body-mind level. Yes. But that does not lead to the conclusion that which knows that consciousness is personal. So when you said earlier that it feels to you, it seems to you that consciousness seems to be local, you're confusing the mind, or the content of the mind, whichever way you want to speak it. You're confusing the local mind with the awareness, which is non-phenomenal. You're confusing the phenomenal with the non-phenomenal. So you're confusing the sensation, a sensation and a thought that says, well, that is my sensation, that is my body, this is my room, this is my office, not Magdi's office, this is my car, this is my, pen, which are thoughts, right? Local thoughts. You're confusing the local thought that is saying, this is my pen. It's okay. Yes, this pen somehow is connected to the body, mind, George, and the bank account, George, and the office that refers to the George, part of George's house. But the George is that which you're perceiving. So consciousness is not defined by the thoughts that convincingly sometimes, or the feelings that convincingly or seemingly to try to attempt hard to convince consciousness that, hey, listen, I say you're George and therefore you're George, So the thought or the feeling that says this is local, consciousness is local, is a thought that you're perceiving in your non-locality. So the impression of the local is an appearance in the non-locality. So in fact, in non-locality, there is no locality. That's why we say it's an impression. There is an impression of locality. It's a seeming locality. And the seeming locality is defined by the thought that says, well, this is here and not there. But in the non-locality, there is no here and there. There is just presence, consciousness, we say. It's a silent beingness. So before thought, I am. During thought, I am. But during thought, the I am doesn't change. It doesn't become, suddenly it's becoming now the I am becomes George. And after the thought, then the I am that was George returns to the borderless amness. Yeah. So when we say before the thought I am, during the thought I am, and after the thought I am, this does not mean that the I am during the thought becomes George or becomes whatever, becomes something. No. The undefined, the unborn, the unformed never actually knows form or becomes form. It's an impression of a form, an impression of a limited object, of a limited body, of a limited limitation is an impression, a mind impression. So it's very tricky. You've got to go in your direct experience in this moment. You've got to go to your experience, not to its seeming content. Your experience is that of transparent presence. And this transparent presence is borderless. And simultaneously, this borderless presence, transparent presence, takes on the form of this conversation. And takes on the form of a thought that says there is a conversation. Because thought is part of the conversation. Thought creates conversation. There is no conversation outside of thought saying there's a conversation. It's pretty tricky. It's a little,
yes.
it's a play of mirrors in a way. You know, once you start peeling the onion, you find layers and layers and layers, and in the end you find yourself with just the silent presence. So thought is like the currents in the ocean, like the waves in the ocean, like a seeming wave. There is a wave from the perspective of somebody who's looking at the ocean, somebody who's flying in a plane or standing on the shore and saying, wow, look at these waves. There is the waves and there is the ocean. But from the perspective of the ocean doesn't know waves. So we speak of waves metaphorically. In our conversation, we say like the waves in the ocean. But from the ocean's perspective, there are no waves. The ocean doesn't experience waves, or doesn't experience currents. Yet there has to be a separate experiencer to experience something. So an experiencer refers to an experience, and they seem to be two. But what is the experience when the experiencer and the experience are not two?
They seem to be two. And now you're asking me, what is the experience? I can't get that. It seems to me there's an experiencer, and we can call it I, and I am having experiences. The experiences are, I'm having experiences, mentations or perceptions, whatever. But I can't get the unity. I can't get the fact that the perceptions and the perceiver are the same. I just can't get that. I'm not doubting. I just can't get it.
Okay. Right now you hear these words.
Yes, of course.
So the I that hears these words.
Yes.
Where are those words?
These words exist only as sounds in which I am perceiving. I'm perceiving sounds, which are, I interpret as words. I've learned to interpret these sounds as words. So they're in one sense, and that's where they are. They have no physical location.
You're perceiving sounds. Now, if we remove the concept sound, I'm not removing the sound, I'm removing the concept sound, okay? So then what is your experience?
If you remove the concept sound, my experience is unchanged.
Meaning?
Well, I can't describe it. The only way I can describe it is sounds. I mean, hearing.
No, I mean, you're saying your experience is the same, but we removed the concept sound. So what is your experience?
Hearing.
Hearing. Okay, now let's remove the concept hearing. Describe your experience.
Without the concept sounds, hearing, there's a perception. I'm just looking for other words to use. I think what you want me to say is awareness, but I don't get that.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not.
No, I appreciate this, but I I don't know.
I want to remove the concepts.
If you remove
Because,
yeah.
So there is an experience, let's say, and there are concepts. I'm trying to sort of invite us to remove the concepts to see what remains. And I don't have an intention in mind. I'm not trying to guide you in any direction. I'm just saying, what if we remove the conceptual realm?
Well, what remains is the experience. And I don't know how to describe it other than, you know, there's the experience. And also if I open my eyes and I look over there, there's an experience. And those two experiences seem different. I don't know what else I can say with that concept.
Well, what if you remove memory? You said they seem different. Let's remove memory.
Okay.
Because in your experience, you're not experiencing two experiences simultaneously.
Yes.
So let's remove memory. Just remain with, you said different. Let's remove that memory.
Okay.
What is your experience?
I can't describe the experience other than through concepts. I'm hearing sounds, I'm hearing words. I don't know how to.
So we cannot describe it.
Cannot describe it, right? I need the concepts in order to describe it.
Right.
The experience is there, but I need the concept to describe it.
Right. Now, let's go to the experiencer without concepts. Experiencer without concepts.
Okay.
What is your experience of the experiencer?
Now that's really tough. I have this vague sense of an experiencer. I'm not even sure that there's an experiencer. I'm going to say I don't have any perception of an experiencer. I'm looking, you know, and certainly in perceptions, there's no experiencer. I can't hear or see or, you know, I can imagine an experiencer, but that's not what you're asking.
So if you look at your experience without concept, without the past, without memory, and if you look at the experiencer without past, without memory, without concepts, are they different?
Okay, I get it. Well, what I was going to say is there is no experiencer. And I think what you're suggesting is that the experience is itself the experiencer.
Actually, not suggesting anything. I'm just looking at what is experience without the labels, without the concepts, without the thoughts, without the memory. And what is the experiencer without the thought, without memory, without the concept? Are they different? Just looking. I'm just looking. Well, anyways, this is sort of food for thought.
Okay.
Another direction, just mentioning about the perceiver and the perceived. In that, before the label, before the naming, before saying this is a table, this is the moon, this is the wave, this is the ocean, this is the tree, we're experiencing our experience pre-labeling, the organizational aspect of the mind.
Right, I understand, yes.
And that which is experiencing this experience, pre-objectifying it, pre-conceptualizing it, are not two.
I'm considering like a newborn baby. No concepts there. Newborn baby has experiences. Experiences, no concepts.
You know, in the photography, in the development lab, they have this piece of paper, and then there is an imprint, and then the imprint sort of appears in the paper.
Right.
Somehow this image is arising to me right now. It's like somehow the paper, slowly there is an imprint on it. So the experiencer is like the paper, and the imprint is like the experience.
Okay.
But then there is concept. Then there is, oh, well, that's a table. Oh, that's an oak tree. Yeah. So thought, which is now the conceptual realm, also arises. But that which is experiencing that thought, that which is perceiving that thought, is not standing a foot away. So as the thought is arising, the experiencer and the experienced, it's like a co-creation. The experiencer and the experience are not apart. Even the thought that says they're apart, that's trying to sort of, really hard push the experiencer on one side and the experience on the other, even that thought that says they're apart, that thought is experienced in the same intimacy, in the same non-dual. Even that thought, if you look at that thought itself is experienced, and the experiencing, the thought and the experiencing and the experienced of that very thought that says, no, there are two, that also is non-dual.
Okay, I'll have to, no, sorry, I was going to say, I'll just have to consider this again and listen to the recording and see where I can go with this.
But also look at your experience moment by moment and ask yourself whether you're experiencing something apart from yourself in your experience. Don't rely on the thought, on the concept, on the label. Yes, I'm experiencing a table, and the tables are there. I got that. I think we both got that. We have no issue with the conceptual realm. I'm talking about pre-organizing. And I know the organization is very important. It's important to know that this table is a dining room table, goes in the dining room, that this chair belongs in the living room, etc. I have no issue with that. Because that's not what we're talking about. Okay?
Right. There's no distance between the vision, what I see, and I don't see any distance. There's no distance. That is what I'm perceiving is here. I mean, there's no other place it can be. There's no location.
Yes.
There's no location. And the location of the table is just a concept. I understand that.
Which is a helpful, useful concept, of course.
Yes, right.
So this is what we're talking about. We're talking about the reality of our experience, without having any issue with the functioning of the mind.
Right.
No issue with that. No issue. I know exactly when the needle on my car, the gas needle goes down. I know exactly where to go and what to do. It's perfect.
Right.
I know where the gas station is. I know where the keys of the car is, etc. No issue. But I'm talking about consciousness. I'm talking about the reality of our experience. So the impression of time and space is functional, is useful, but it's not useful in terms of I am separate from consciousness. I'm a limited personal consciousness, and it's not helpful in defining I. It's helpful in defining a car, in defining a table, in defining, a variety of things, but not in defining consciousness. Because thought is limited in its function. It's limited. It can define a table, a car, a computer. It's objective. Thought is objective. It's an objective. It's a blip on the screen. Thought is a blip on the screen. It's an imprint on the photographic film. But impressions about the screen they appear on the screen, but they're not about the screen. So thought appears on the screen, but it's not about the screen. It doesn't know the screen. And the thought doesn't arise from a different reality and boom, lands on the screen. That's not our experience. If it was our experience, I'd be on board with you. But it's not our experience. That the thoughts, we don't experience the thought coming from somewhere. But yet we experience thought.
Right.
We don't experience thought dualistically, like, in a separate way. It's an impression. The impression that we're experiencing something separate from ourselves arises from the false premise that I am some separate self, some personal self. But when we look into that, we find that that's just a thought and a belief. It's a belief. And that, from that false premise, our perception is affected dualistically. And what's worse than that, we experience a sense of isolation and separation and fear and negative emotions and depression and so on. Which are sensations and expressions and experiences that we have that in a way tell us not to go further in that direction and in a way rub our nose into it. They rub these negative emotions rub our nose in and say, okay, listen, how much longer are you going to continue to ignore reality, to ignore truth? when are you going to get back on the rail? It's like a derailed train is riding still. The steam engine is still going on the gravel. When are you going to get back on the rail?
Okay, thank you. I'm beginning to see. I said earlier, I couldn't see where the perceiver and the perceived are one, but I'm beginning to get that, because the perceived is not the table. The perceived is
There is no
the
word.
experience.
Yes, the table is.
The table's irrelevant. The table doesn't even exist.
Yeah,
Forget about the table.
it's a
The
conception.
table's not even there.
Yes.
Okay. So what you're saying then is that instead of saying the perceiver and the perception are one. That's a little bit easier for me to get rather than the. Okay, and I don't want to take any more time. Yeah. I really appreciate it. Thanks very much.
Reality is one.
That's enough. I get completely. There's only one reality. There's no doubt about that. What I can't get, I'm sorry, is the relationship between consciousness and this one reality. If you want to make an argument there aren't two realities, I'm with you. Obviously, there's only one reality. Reality has no borders. I just can't get that link between the consciousness and reality.
The relationship is that consciousness is real and is that one reality.
Consciousness is real, no doubt about that. Oh, okay, I get it. What I was about to say is consciousness is real, but there could be other things in reality other than consciousness, but that's absurd. I get it now, yes. Consciousness is a subset of reality. Reality is a subset of consciousness. I hate to sound like a mathematician, but therefore consciousness and reality are the same. I get it now. It took me a while, but I do get it. Thank you. Of course. Yes. Yes. Maybe slow, but I get that now. Consciousness and reality are the same, of course. Thank you. Thank you, Magdi. Let me give someone else a chance. There may be other people who want to talk to you. Thank you.
So consciousness, reality, and awareness are different words for the same thing.
Yeah, that's how I use the language. I mean, in some circles, people refer to awareness as objective. As the awareness of a tree, and awareness of a. But there isn't really an awareness of. That's just the mental realm. So yes, I'm now consciousness, awareness, and reality are the same. There's one reality, the reality of consciousness. We know that we are, and we know that we are conscious, we are aware.
Like when you say there's only one reality, and that sentence there, and it's the reality of consciousness that confuses. I feel confused.
It confuses you?
Yeah.
What part of it confuses you? Like, what's the confusion?
It's kind of like saying the reality of the reality. Like, why?
It's another word, Okay. So, in terms of awareness is our direct experience. You agree?
Yeah.
And there is no such thing as an experience of non-awareness. Do you agree?
Yes.
So awareness in our experience is absolute. Are you okay with that word, absolute?
Yes.
Okay. Now, that which appears is not absolute, it's constantly changing. Like the thought you had 5 minutes ago is gone, right?
Mm-hmm.
So awareness is absolute, meaning it is irrespective of the age of my grandmother, irrespective of the weather, irrespective of the body-mind, yes?
Mm-hmm.
Reality, when I use the term reality, there are two things about reality. First, we know that there is something rather than nothing.
Yeah.
So it's a reality to our experience. That's a word, meaning there is something that is the ground of manifestation. And the ground of manifestation is the same ground out of which all experiences arise. Why? Because an experience does not arise out of another experience. A thought does not arise out of another thought. A thought does not arise out of a sensation. A feeling does not arise out of a perception. All arising arise out of the source, out of the one reality, out of the ground of being. And all arising, all experiences are experienced by the same awareness. That's unchanging, which is the reality of our experience, as well as our reality, I mean the reality of I.
Okay, time out. I was following you until you said that.
Until I said the reality of I,
And the sentence before it.
the reality of my experience.
Yeah.
Well, when you are dreaming at night, you dream of a beautiful lake, that you are swimming in the lake, and you wake up, and it seems very real to you. When you wake up, you are dry in bed, you're not wet, there is no lake. So what was the reality of that dream?
It wasn't real.
Huh?
It wasn't real.
Yeah, but yet it wasn't nothing. There was a dream. There was a lake. There was... What is the reality of your dream? Where did the dream arise from? It arose...
Well, oh.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say, like, I was aware of it. I don't know what it arose from.
Well, as a metaphor, we say it arose out of you, the dreamer. You
Okay.
out of you, the dreamer. So there is a reality to the lake and you swimming in the lake, but it's not the lake and it's not you swimming in the lake, because when you woke up, there is no lake and you're not wet. So the reality of the dream or of the experience or the reality of your experience is you, the dreamer, yes?
Is there another word? Like another word?
Then what?
Reality in this context? The thing that was real?
That out of which the dream arose, the lake arose, and the swimmer arose, and that which perceived the swimming or perceived the wetness, that which created that and perceived that is you, the dreamer.
Okay.
The creator and the perceiver. We've got to go back to the term reality. You have to get on board with the term reality.
I'm having, every time you say it, like I follow you and then you say the word reality and I'm like lagging, trying to like.
Well, we know that there is something rather than nothing right now, right?
Yes.
What would you call that?
Awareness.
Okay, let's call it awareness. Now, so your experience is awareness. That something rather than nothing, which you refer to as awareness, you said it's awareness. Then everything you're experiencing, it is that something, which you refer to as awareness.
Yeah.
So I know that I am. You agree?
1 second. Do I agree that I am? Yeah.
And would you agree that also that knowingness that I am is this very something rather than nothing?
Yes.
Which you called awareness. A minute ago you said awareness.
Yeah.
Okay, so the I am is awareness.
Yeah.
Good, you got such it. So I am is awareness. So I and the amness of I, meaning the beingness of I, the I that is nothing else but this awareness. Yes?
Could you say that again? The Sanskrit that you said kind of.
Forget about the Sanskrit. Let's not, let's come back to the I. The I am is awareness.
Okay.
And awareness is that something rather than nothing.
Yeah.
And this something rather than nothing is not an object.
Yeah.
So I am awareness is not an object.
Yeah.
And that which is not an object is neither born nor dies.
Okay.
And is not, given that it's not an object, it doesn't have any form.
Yeah.
And given that the I am is awareness, this awareness, by the very fact that it is awareness, is aware.
Yeah.
And it's aware that it is awareness.
Yeah.
So I am aware that I am awareness,
Yeah.
which is not an object.
Mm-hmm.
And given that the I am, which is awareness, which is not an object, given that it is not an object, there is nothing lacking to it.
Mm-hmm.
Which is an experience of freedom and happiness.
There's an objection back here, Mo.
What is it?
Like, but it feels like something's lacking.
Well, at what point in our conversation did it trip? We were
just when you said what you said.
There is nothing lacking?
Yeah.
Well, a dog can be lacking his bone. A millionaire may be lacking an additional $2 million. But awareness is not an object, it's not a dog or somebody with a bank account.
Yeah.
So at some point in our conversation, you must have left our conversation, because we were, I am is awareness, and awareness is aware that it is awareness and that it's non-objective, it's not a form, and therefore it's lacking nothing. As soon as I said it's not lacking, something tripped you. Okay. All right. So it feels like it's lacking something, yes? It feels that there is a lack, yes?
Yeah.
Okay.
Now it doesn't feel like it, but
Okay.
well, it keeps changing actually.
Okay. The feeling that awareness, I'm lacking something, is an illusion. It's not real. It doesn't refer to awareness. It's not. It's an illusion. And this, okay, nonetheless, it arises, right? It arises.
What does it refer to?
Huh?
You said it doesn't refer to awareness?
No, because
what is it referring to?
It refers to something limited. It refers to the dog missing his bone. It refers to somebody missing a promotion, or somebody missing a friend, or somebody. It's an illusion.
Okay.
It refers to the me illusion. Okay. It refers to the belief and the feeling that awareness is limited. and personal, which is not true. Awareness is not personal. Your bank account may be personal. Your car may be personal. Your shoes are personal. But it's a false premise that awareness is personal or is lacking, because you made a jump from awareness being non-phenomenal to awareness being phenomenal, and therefore lacking more awareness. I don't know what it's lacking. Well, I know it's lacking love or whatever you whatever you create.
I'm laughing because it doesn't care. It's just lacking something.
Lacking something. It's lacking something, right? It's lacking. It's lacking. Now, lacking, the experience of lacking, is just a wave in the ocean. Meaning, the experience of lacking refers to an imaginary me, and it appears to you as a thought and a sensation. You have to break it down. If you don't break it down to a thought and a sensation, you will have the impression that it's referring to a real separate self. You follow? If you don't break it down, you will experience that, oh my God, yes, it is happening to me. You need to break down this lack into a sensation, whatever it is, in your belly, in your neck, in your pinky, whatever, I don't know. You're experiencing a sensation. Doesn't matter, it could be a burning sensation, okay? But it's still a sensation. And the thought, oh my God, what's going to happen to me if she doesn't love me back? Which is a thought. So this lack that you said appears to you as a wave in the ocean, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what? A wave doesn't define the ocean. You cannot say, oh my God, there is a wave. There goes the ocean. No. There is a wave, fine. Awareness, still we are back to I am. Awareness is this something rather than nothing. That I am this awareness, and that awareness is aware that it's aware. And it's non-phenomenal, it's not an object. It's not a form. And now a bird just flew by the window. Sense of lack. Oh my God, what's going to happen to me if she doesn't love me? A sensation, a bodily sensation, and a thought, which are gone. They're gone. Except if you want to keep refreshing them. You know that refresh button? If you want to keep refreshing misery, you keep refreshing. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And the screen will go, oh my God, refresh, like, oh my God. It's like you're sitting by the lake and you've got 5,000 stone rocks. You throw a rock and you throw another rock, you throw another rock, you throw another rock. You want to feel unloved. You want this experience. Because this experience of something like it is gone. It's gone. It's absolutely gone. That thought, she's not going to love me, does she love me, is gone. But then you go, well, why doesn't she love me? And then go, oh well, but I thought she loved me. And you go, but she should love me. You keep throwing stones in the water. And you keep having the the wavelets. Why? Because I don't know. You want it.
I wanted to ask you this yesterday, but it didn't happen. You said that, so it's digressing a little bit, but it's kind of along those same lines. You said if a thought was absolute truth, it would deliver absolute happiness.
Yes.
But if that's confusing, like a thought, like the thought that I brought up yesterday was like if my parents were emotionally available, like that's the thought, then my life would have been better or things would have been easier.
Right.
And then you said that, and I'm like, but the thought is just pointing to something.
The thought is not absolute. And so it cannot deliver absolute happiness or absolute unhappiness.
Time out. The thought is not absolute in the sense of like awareness, that's absolute. The thought is just appears and disappears.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. It's a chemical neurons firing in the, in the universal brain. It's not absolute. The thought is not absolute. Only that which is absolute is absolute. And the only thing, if you don't mind me using that word thing, the only thing that is absolute is awareness, consciousness. That's in our experience. In our experience, the perceptions are not absolute. The memories are not absolute. The hunger is not absolute. Yesterday's party is not absolute. Tomorrow's dreams, not absolute. Only awareness, consciousness is absolute.
But a thought doesn't, yeah.
So that which is not absolute cannot deliver something which is absolute. That which is relative only delivers the relative. A thought delivers an impression, an impression, like a stone. You throw a stone in the pond, it delivers wavelets. Or when a photon hits the retina, it delivers an impulse through the ocular nerve. So the relative delivers the relative. Only the absolute can deliver the absolute. So thought cannot deliver the absolute. And since we are interested in that which is absolute, which is real, I know you don't like the word real, but which is real, other people can be okay with the term real, because we're interested in reality, in the absolute, in love, in happiness, in causeless peace. Then we're not that much interested in thoughts, because they only deliver, they are relative, and they only deliver the relative.
So whatever thought points to, I want to see if I'm getting this. Another way of saying what you're saying, like whatever thought says, like I want ice cream. Ice cream will make me happy. Like it will just, like if you act on it and you get the ice cream, there's like a relative happiness, but it's not absolute, right?
What is relative happiness? Relative happiness is no happiness. It's a misnomer.
It's a what?
Misnomer. It's erroneous to speak of relative happiness. There is no such thing as relative happiness. There is a pleasure.
What is it? Oh, okay.
Happiness is absolute. Like love, peace, freedom. They're absolute, they're not relative. What is a relative freedom? Like you're in jail and they let you out in the courtyard for 2 hours. Oh, I'm having relative freedom. So happiness is absolute. So the thought, which is a relative, it creates an impression. So the thought says ice cream, then there is an image of ice cream. And then it leads to a relative behavior. So now you're going to eat ice cream and you're going to enjoy the ice cream. It's all relative. There's nothing wrong with it, except if you believe that this enjoyment of ice cream means happiness. Happiness has nothing to do with enjoyment of ice cream. Enjoyment of ice cream can be, it's a celebration, it's joyful, but it's not happiness. What if there is no ice cream? You go to the store and they just closed. Oh, holy cow, I'm so unhappy now. So the relative cannot deliver the absolute. Only the absolute. This is why all our conversation is always about reality. It's about truth. It's about the absolute. It's about consciousness. It's not about how you're feeling and what happened to you yesterday. Were you feeling good yesterday? Oh, and it's not about that. There's nothing wrong with how you're feeling. I love to know how you're feeling. I mean, it's beautiful. We have a conversation, but that's not what really it's about. It's not about your body or about your mind or about your dreams. Interpret your dreams. It's not about that. It's about reality, about truth, about the absolute. Why? Because the absolute will deliver the absolute. And it's not possible for the relative to comprehend the absolute. So this bundle of thoughts and what you believe you are, which is relative, is changing depending on, did I have a good breakfast today? did I wake up on the right foot of the right side of the bed? Did I wake up on the right? Did I get out of bed on the right side of the bed? So it's very relative. My thoughts, my feelings, my emotions, my memories, my aspirations, my hopes, all of that is relative. Yes. So when you start from the relative, meaning from the me, to comprehend the absolute, you will never arrive to it. Because the relative cannot comprehend the absolute. So you have to go to the absolute. How can you go to the absolute, given that you are relative? How can I go to the absolute if I'm relative? Because you are not relative. You are the absolute. You absolutely imagine you are the relative. The relative is an impression that you have, but you need to see that's an impression. So you become free of it. You can still play it if you want. Actually, sometimes, I am Magdi, when somebody tells me, hello, what's your name? I say, Magdi. But I know that I'm giving them the name of the body, the human name, the name that, they looked it up in that book of names, and they thought, oh, this is the name. They're talking about, not about the absolute. Because the absolute has no name. A name is about the relative, you see. So you can contemplate the absolute because you are the absolute. You meaning what you truly are. What you truly are is not a bundle of images, experiences, memories of your father, your mother, your friends in school. Did they mocked of you? They mocked of your name or whatever. They mocked of you. You know how sometimes we have some experiences that are traumatic when we are kids. It has nothing to do with that. You're what you truly are. In Buddhism, they say your true nature, or Brahman in Hindu.
possible to go back to reality? Like, I don't want to trip on that word whenever you use it.
You know, truth, that which is true, That which is true across the board. You cannot have something which is true, which is also untrue. Either it's true or it's not true. Truth is one. It's not relative. Do you agree with that? Oh, Holger, you wrote truth, that which never changes. Yes. Oh, yes, I can get you. Yes, Shiva. It's just a thought, right? Truth, that which never. So, how about the term truth? Maybe you feel more, comfortable.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're talking about truth, or absolute, the absolute.
Thank you.
Okay, Amna. So, any questions? Hello, Holger.
Just deep gratitude. It's really amazing, your satsangs and the intensity. It's just beautiful, and I really just thank you. It's wonderful.
Yes. Any questions?
I have a,
Yes, I'm here.
I guess I want a confirmation, or because I've been using like thoughts to try to arrive.
You've been using what? Okay.
Thinking thoughts.
Oh, yes.
Like that has been my my excuse for like getting into it. But then so when like thoughts can't take me.
To God, to truth.
Yeah.
A thought about truth can take you to truth. A thought about ice cream will take you to the freezer. But thought about God take you to God. Thought about God they arise from God. Thought about truth arise from truth. So from the source, thoughts about the source arise from the source. They appear to us locally, but they are not originated locally. They are originated at the source, and they refer to the source. So yes, it's okay to use thoughts about God, about truth, about beauty, about love, about happiness, about honesty, about sincerity, about intimacy, without referring to a person, because the thoughts that arise from a person are they are false. They're arising from what you imagine yourself to be. They don't arise from what you truly are. So the thoughts that arise from the person, they are second-hand thoughts. The primary thought of these second-hand thoughts is the thought, I am lacking, I am insufficient, I am a mortal body-mind. That's a primary thought that's unseen, which is the me thought, the I thought. So the I thought and the me feeling, they pollute all the thoughts that arise, that follow. But a thought that comes directly from God, from reality, from truth, is a thought that carries within it truth, carries within it the perfume of God's garden, carries within it the path and the sweet.
So from moment to moment, what would be an invitation to not be from the polluted side?
From moment to moment, like Francis says, follow your enthusiasm, that which arises to you, that is happy, that's joyful. That, of course, causes no harm to anyone. So follow your enthusiasm. Enjoy follow the joy of being, what is joyful and happy for you. That doesn't cause any harm. You do your best with that.
Thank you.
Okay, Amina. Any?
Do you have time for a question?
Yes. Hello.
Hi.
Jim. Hi, Jim.
I'm Jim.
Yes. Hello, Jim.
So,
Yes.
hi.
Yes.
It seems like when I wake up in the morning too early, I'm very condensed in and really absorbed into my thoughts and feelings.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't really get to the I am.
Yes.
It's like everything is just so instantaneously heavy and
Yes.
dense, and it takes a lot of time. And then by nighttime, I can be aware of being aware
Yes.
of the thoughts and just not be so into the thoughts. I think it's more spacious. I'm more spacious.
Yes.
But any?
Yes. Yes, Jim. So, in the when we are in deep sleep, it's a peaceful time because there is no world, no body, no mind. There is the me, which is usually engaged in thoughts and in the world, is dimmed down. It's like the dimmer is very, very low. So when we awaken, when the body awakens, then the mind also awakens, and not just the body, but the thoughts. One could say it resumes. It took a break, took a siesta, but it resumes. The me. What am I going to do? What happened yesterday? What am I going to do tomorrow? And we experience ourselves sort of jumbled up or mumbo jumbo inside of these thoughts and feelings. Now, so what you may take a look at in that these thoughts and the sensations, the feelings, they arise to you. They appear to you. Like when you wake up, the bedroom appears to you, and then the light through the window appears to you. You don't appear, it is the appearance that appears to you. So the thoughts appear to you. And it's the same thing with feelings, they appear to you. You don't appear in the thoughts or in the feeling. If you do appear in the thought, because there is a thought about me, that you that appears in the thought is not the real you. It's the story you, the tale, it's the fiction, the fictitious you, the impression of you is not the real you. The real you is that spaciousness into which the thoughts arises, into which the perceptions arise. So like right now, you are perceiving this perception. You are hearing these words.
Yes.
These words and this hearing and this perception appears to you. So that which appears to you comes and goes. It's like the weather, it comes and goes. The only issue that you have with that which appears to you is when you want it to be different. When you want it to be different, good luck, because it's already up there. It's already, it's like losing, engaging in a losing battle. It's like, what's the point? So the only time you have an issue with anything that's appearing to you in your body, in your mind, in the world, is when you want it to be different. And you want it to be different because you feel it's important for it to be different. And so you're mounting a losing battle. And you feel that it has to be different because somehow you have the impression that it's going to be better for you. But better for you is better for you what you imagine yourself to be, not the spaciousness of awareness. So every time that you refer to yourself as what you imagine yourself to be, meaning what thought says you are, then you will experience yourself in the mumbo jumbo. You will experience yourself in the rapids, like on a canoe, yes. In the rapids of the thoughts and of the world and of the emotions.
Yeah, and that's what happens in the morning. It's like fear, depression, and I guess because I really don't want to be awake. It's like it's only 5 hours. I need to go back to sleep, and then
yes,
thoughts and feelings, and then and it just lasts for hours. And it seems
you see, we can be awake like we are asleep. Sleeping meaning rest. That's what sleeping really means. I mean, the restfulness. The way we can be awake like resting is not by resisting, I don't want to be awake. Because when you resist, I don't want to be awake, then you are in the resistance. And you cannot spend your whole life sleeping, That's not how it is, So pay attention to your resistance of being awake. And also notice that your experience of being awake is things are appearing to you, but you are not Jim. You are not Jim. You are the awareness. As soon as you become Jim, meaning the body, the mind, then whatever happens to the body is happening to you. Whatever is happening to the mind is happening to you.
Yes.
So
that it feels like I condense into, in the mornings, I condense. I can sometimes get nice big space. I am big space, which is, and then all these things are in the space, but if it's not me.
yes.
But then in the morning, I am no space. I am just that horrible feeling and those thoughts.
Don't
So I guess
fight, don't struggle. Don't, because the struggling is deeper, the deeper the roots. So allow this experience, even though it appears, it seems to be unhappy.
Yeah.
Relax it, relax yourself in it, not relax it, relax yourself in it, allow it to be. Allow it to be. By allowing it to be, without trying to fix it, without trying to think, oh my God, it was better yesterday, or it's going to be better at 5 o'clock, or without this, these are form of escape. This form of escape. Just remain as you are. Feel it. Heck, you can feel. You can feel this because it is bodily sensation. You know, you can feel bodily sensation. You know, you can feel that. So don't fight. Don't fight. And in the not fighting, two things. First, the body mind is not going to be engaging in a war. So already it's not adding fuel to the fire. It's not adding fuel to the fire. Yeah. And also it's going to give you a little more space to sort of experience the neutrality of appearance.
That's what I want. Yay.
All appearance is neutral until we start a war with that appearance. Okay. All appearance, even losing one's arm, is neutral until we declare war. And we declare war because somehow we are deluded in believing that is going to bring peace and happiness. Because we all seeking peace and happiness in everything we do. Love, peace and happiness, beauty, joy. Absolutely. Even when we are working in a coal mine to feed our family, we're doing that because we want them to be happy. And when we want them to, when they are happy, we are happy. That's it. You cannot arrive to happiness by waging a war, or waging a battle, or waging a resistance.
It sounds, you said that it makes the roots deeper. Yes. Whenever you, so I don't want that at all.
Right.
So it's all, I guess, like quicksand. You're supposed to not fight quicksand.
Right.
Because the more you fight, the faster you go down.
Yes.
I guess.
Yes.
So okay, so I got to just rest.
Yes.
And allow.
And you know what? You have all it takes to rest in the middle of anything, because you are this awareness. And awareness is, by its very nature, yesness. It's a yesness. It's an effortless yesness.
Thank you. I'm going to
okay, Jim.
Add that to my tools.
Yes, wonderful.
And perception.
Beautiful.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
You're welcome. Nice to talk with you. And thank you all. Very lovely to be with you, and Richard, George, Amna, salut Shiva, hello Zoe, and John, hello John, Holger, Jim, nice to meet you, Jim.
Nice to meet you.
Holly, hola Jenny, and Kelly, hello Tomer, and Maria. Thank you all.
Thank you, Magdi.